Hey, you possum peeps. Today is Friday, April 5th, 2024, and you're watching the Weekly Paw. Hi, my name is Sean Patrick Hillman. I'm the editor-in-chief and co-publisher of Pet Lifestyles magazine. What an insanely weird week this has been. First off, Monday was virtually non-existent. So many people were still celebrating Easter with their families. Schools were closed. I mean, the streets of Manhattan resembled more the pandemic than the day after Easter. It was just very odd how quiet it was. Now, what can only be described as biblical level rains hit the New York tri-state area in the last week, dropping over 4 inches in the city alone. I swear, at one point, I thought I saw Noah going by on his ark. That's how bad it was in the middle of all of this. Now, this morning, a 4.8 earthquake hit the New York tri-state region, and people are freaking out. Folks, a 4.8 magnitude earthquake is nothing more than a fart in the wind. Come on, it was nothing. I felt more movement on a toilet bowl than what hit the city today. Yet, they activated the emergency alert system. Everybody's freaking out on the streets. I'm getting messages left, right, and sideways. Oh my God, are you okay? Folks, it was a small earthquake. It really wasn't anything. It wasn't in the city. It was in New Jersey. And yes, we felt it in the city, but so what? It was nothing. I lived through a 7.2 in California many years ago. Now that was something to be worried about. So the entire time period we're going through right now is just so surreal on far too many levels. Let's get on to the news. Biggest story in the news right now, other than the overly sensitive reacting to a ground shaker, is Monday's total solar eclipse. I swear, every single newspaper, magazine, blog, and TV newscast I have seen in the last week is talking about the eclipse. It's crazy. It's cool, but it's crazy. Now, granted, total solar eclipses are a rare occurrence, especially if you live in New York City. So I don't know if end times is here or what, but it is interesting to see how people are reacting to the various natural events that are happening right now. Now, all of the news coverage I've seen on the total solar eclipse, how it impacts health, behavior, the environment, and more. Well, there is certainly one topic that they aren't covering: pets. And that's what you have old SP for, okay? Now, that's when I also turn to my packmates at Best Friends Animal Society. Earlier this week, my friend Alina, who's in the PR department at Best Friends, sent me an advisory about pets and the total solar eclipse and what to expect and things like that. So let's discuss that for a second. One of their vets actually sent over a quote, "Animals can be uniquely sensitive to environmental changes such as thunderstorms or full moons. During a solar eclipse, animals may become disoriented or confused due to the sudden changes in light, depending on where you are in relation to the path of totality." And that's Dr. Colleen Guilfoyle, who's a veterinarian at Best Friends Animal Society. You know, look, folks, as I say with every issue that comes up with respect to pets, just use your head, use your heart, make sure that they're comfortable, make sure they're safe. This really isn't that different than fireworks or anything like that. And frankly, it's a lot less invasive. Fireworks are very noisy, plus you have the light and everything else. A total solar eclipse is a very different animal, pun very much intended, with respect to our pets, okay? They're not impacted as much by it. And yeah, they're going to feel a little weird because they are much more sensitive to nature than we are. So Best Friends sent over a ton of tips for us to talk about in order to keep your pets safe during this event. So let's hash through that. First tip: best way to avoid any potential issues is to keep pets indoors and in a familiar environment. You want to keep them as comfortable as possible without alerting them to the fact that something's happening. You know, the worst thing that you can do, especially for a dog, is unnecessarily worry them. And remember, they feel everything you feel. Dogs are incredibly intuitive. So you don't want to overreact that, the sun is going to get blocked out by the moon and so on and so forth. Guys, it's going to happen for literally a couple of seconds. We're not talking, or even a minute. We're not talking about an hour. We're not talking about a night. So it's an incredibly special event. Please don't think I'm minimizing it at all, because I'm actually looking very much forward to this. But when it comes to our forever friends, this is virtually a non-event, but let's be better safe than sorry, right? So consider closing curtains or blinds to minimize the potential of eclipse exposure. Now, there are a lot of folks, that are doing at-home parties for the eclipse. Yeah, I know. We live in strange times. Are you expecting extra guests for the eclipse? Well, if you are, implement additional measures to prevent pets from escaping, such as using a baby gate, excuse me, or keeping them on a leash. Now, the leash issue I'm all with. Baby gates become a little more complicated, especially in an apartment in New York City, okay? Dogs tend to feel a little more trapped, a little more enclosed when you put up a baby gate, unless that is something they are already used to. If you have a lot of people over with some regularity and you have a high energy pup, you want to make sure that your guests feel comfortable coming over again and again and again, and you don't want your dog jumping on them. So you got to train them out of that behavior for one. A baby gate only works for so long before a dog starts to get upset and feeling left out. And that's the last thing we want to do for our forever friends. So just bear that in mind. Keeping them on a leash, all there, no problem. Now, if a pet has previously shown signs of stress in similar situations, use your previous management routine, such as using compression clothing, or you might even want to talk to your vet this weekend for advice on managing anxiety. Unfortunately, this is happening on Monday, so you don't have a lot of time. But if you need to get a sedative or something like that, you need to call your vet now. I mean, tomorrow may even be too late. A lot of vets are closed on Saturday, or the primary vet who you may see for your pet may not be there. So bear those things in mind. Now, this might involve using, in terms of what the vet may recommend, may involve using supplements, pheromones, or medications, as I just said, to ensure they have a comfortable experience during the eclipse. Now, if the darkness during the event prompts your pet to sleep or nap, let them. I mean, think about this. One of the amazing things about being a pet is that you have the ability to nap whenever you want. So for them, taking a nap would actually be a very good thing. Now, if you're going to be outside with your pet during the eclipse, please, please, please keep them leashed and close to you. I hate retractable leashes to begin with, but if you have one, hold it taut, because you do not want your dog going any more than a foot or two away from you, just in case they react to what's going on. And you also, if you are outside at one of these viewing, public parties that people are putting together, you want to make sure that you keep that leash extra tight to you, because you want to make sure that the dog avoids noisy and large crowd situations specific to this event. Again, dogs are a lot more in tune to what's going on in nature, and they're certainly more aware of their environment than we are. So they may notice something you don't, and that doesn't mean it's something bad, but it may be something that affects them. So just bear that in mind. Also, and if you haven't done this already, shame on you. Ensure your pet is microchipped and that the information registered to the microchip is current. Now, according to NASA, the eclipse will first come into view over the South Pacific Ocean before appearing in Mexico at approximately 2:07 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, before coming to the U.S. And then it staggers across the U.S. And as a matter of fact, there was an updated advisory this morning that it's going to be an even shorter time frame for those of us in the Northeast. So go about your day, enjoy your eclipse. I'm going to be home. Hopefully I'll be outside watching it at 2:07 p.m. when it hits Mexico. So it'll probably take another few minutes to, swath up to the Northeast. Looking very much forward to it. And so is Brie. All right, I had promised you guys a couple of weeks ago that I would do a follow-up on Clean Coats. You remember the no-nonsense, simple and clean design shampoo and brush set that was sent to me to try. Now, twin sisters Carly and Britta Garsow developed this brand to be clean, simple, chemical-free, and better for your pets' hair and skin. Check this out. All right. Brie, you ready for your first bath with our friends at Clean Coats? Well, whenever I bathe Brie for the first time in a bit, I always get her excited because she loves this little nozzle. She loves drinking from it. All right. Ready? Now, remember, whenever you bathe the dog, one thing that is incredibly important is to never get their ears soaked. Because you don't want water flooding inside their ears, because that may result in a visit to the vet. All right, now I'm about to apply the Clean Coats shampoo. Gotten Brie nice and lathered up. All right. Yes, Brie does love her baths. Then again, she loves anything that involves cuddling, touching, patting, or playing. So, here's my take on the product itself. We already know how much I love their branding. The girls did an amazing job with that. I'm very proud of Carly and Britta for how they approached the brand identity. It's very clean. It's very simple. It's no nonsense. It clearly says what it is and is not on the package. It's just a very elegant, contemporary, beautiful product. Now, let's get into the nitty gritty. As I was saying, these two put together something incredibly special. And I'm saying that because after using it, Brie's coat is now clean as a whistle. It's soft and it's shiny. Normally, it takes several runs with a handheld wand to get the shampoo out of Brie's coat. Well, Clean Coats was gone in seconds. It was amazing. I was completely blown away. I was thinking I was going to have to be on my knees for a bit, constantly washing out the soap from her coat. Not the case at all. Overall, I love this product. Clean, simple, and strong. I would recommend this to anyone who is looking for a clean, no-nonsense shampoo for their dogs. Now, I did find the lack of any noticeable odor or flavor from the product to be a little jarring at first. And that's only because I'm used to bathing Brie with an oatmeal coconut flavored shampoo. So it's going to take some getting used to. Now, in this context, okay, because again, there's nothing wrong with this product. In this context, I guess my only advice on the formulation would be to consider adding some canine-friendly essential oils to potentially add some more neutral or light scents to the product. I get that they want this to be chemical or, low ingredient count, as chemical-free or low ingredient count as possible. But there are a lot of pet parents out there looking for a product like this that may have a light, clean, or pleasant scent to it rather than just a non-scented one. It's just a thought. Other than that, I wouldn't change a damn thing. Congratulations to you two ladies. Brilliant job. So proud of what you've done. I can't wait to see what you have coming up next. All right. Before I get into Furry Friday and TGIFurry, I need to address a big issue that arose in the last week. This is a tough one. As many of you know, I featured Chef Jose Andres and his Real Mesa pet food line on the cover of Pet Lifestyles Magazine's March issue. Now, I'm not going to dive into the political spectrum of this topic because we don't talk politics on the Weekly Paw. But we wanted to take a moment to reflect on the tragic death of 7 of Chef Jose's World Central Kitchen workers that were in Gaza last week during an Israeli airstrike. Regardless of what side of the argument you sit on for Israel or Palestine, this is a tragedy. From everyone at both Pet Lifestyles Magazine and New York Lifestyles Magazine, Chef, please accept our sincerest thoughts and prayers and love for you and your team. I know how personally you take your staff's well-being. It is one of the many, many things I have always loved and respected about you. Please know that we are here for you if you need anything. Rest in peace to those who passed trying to do God's work and help feed some folks. You know, I've known Chef a long time, and having him on this cover was a very cool personal moment for me. So, when I heard the news, I had to say something. And again, I'm not going to get into the political aspect of this because it's too much and it's not the right thing for us to do as Pet Lifestyles Magazine. So, again, our thoughts, our prayers, our love go out to Chef and his team. All right. Welcome to this week's Furry Friday. This is the part of the episode where we talk about adoptables and the shelter or rescue they came from. Now, given what's going on in animal care centers of New York City, or ACC as we call it, I felt that I need to spend a little time pushing their populations. So we're going to focus on them today. We're going to talk about a couple of adoptables, and then I'll dive into ACC's profile. So first up is Peanut Butter Buster. Oh my God, look at that face. He's a 3-year-old pit mix weighing about 60 pounds. Now, the shelter doesn't know a lot about Peanut Butter Buster's history, but volunteers are reporting that he is excitable and energetic. He does need an adopter that is willing to work with him and teach him properly. Smart boy just needs a little TLC. He loves snuggles and getting pet, and ACC is suggesting a home without children for this little guy. Look, folks, when a dog hits a certain age, especially big dogs, when they reach a certain age, if they have not had experience with children, it is a very long and difficult road to get them comfortable with that, especially if they've been back and forth or in and out of a shelter. So, in this case, ACC is 100% right. Suggest a home without little children. Older children, maybe. But again, I want to go back to the comment about excitable and energetic. That's great for a dog that's 3 years old. And, you know, that's just coming out of adolescence. It's more adulthood now. And remember, every single day with a dog, every day is a training exercise. So, just remember that as you make your decision on what pet you're going to adopt. All right. Next up is Espresso Swirl, a 1-year-old male weighing in at about 40 pounds. Now, he's currently in foster care, and I'm going to dive into that in a second. But Espresso Swirl showed up at ACC as a stray, so his background isn't that well known. Now, according to the foster parent, he is just like his namesake, coffee that packs a punch. There you go. He's full of love, and while Espresso Swirl has some separation anxiety issues, not uncommon for a shelter pet. He's smart and willing to learn. He doesn't like change or new things. So, in other words, he would be perfect for a home that has someone who works from home. Look, when you think about a dog like this, okay, obviously smart, willing to learn, so there are a lot of things you can train that dog out of or into. And if that's a matter of working with a trainer to figure out how to best approach the separation anxiety issue, in other words, when you leave your home, is that dog destroying things? Is it barking a lot? Is it getting upset? There are a lot of ways to mitigate that. Now, if you want to learn more about dog training and what happens on either end of that leash that you walk your dog with, because bear in mind, dogs do sense almost everything that happens on that leash, my advice would be check out New York Pet Lifestyles Magazine's columnist, Kate Perry, and her Training for Both Ends of the Leash book. Now, as you all know, I've known Kate a long time. I've worked with her for a long time. And you will not find someone who cares more or understands more about canine psychology. So check that book out if you're interested in learning more about how to deal with certain issues with your dog. Now, ACC. I have spent a long time working with these folks. Their executive director is a friend of mine. I've known her for many, many, many years. I have a lot of respect for her. It's a tough position to be in because ACC is contracted by the Department of Health and Human Services in the city of New York. So that means that they're not a city agency, but they are contracted as such, which means they cannot refuse an animal that is brought to their doors, okay? That makes things a lot more complicated because New York City is one of the most densely populated areas on Earth, which means we have a lot of animals that we have to take care of, and that's ACC's responsibility, helping New York take care of its animals and its pets. Now, I bring all of this up for a very specific reason. As I have said repeatedly over the last month, shelters and rescues across the country are suffering horribly right now. They're so overloaded, they're overpopulated, and the euthanization rate is only going up. We need your help. We need everybody's help. Share this video. Try and get the word out about these two adoptables and many, many, many more. Visit the URL on your screen. Adopt, volunteer, donate, foster. Do whatever it is that you can to help these people out. I can tell you, despite what you hear or see about almost any municipal shelter in the country, these people do not want to euthanize a living being. They do not want to euthanize a dog or a cat. So go to the URL on your screen, learn more about what ACC does and why, and see how you can help make a difference today. Special thanks goes out to Risa, the executive director at ACC, as well as Katie Hansen, who is in charge of marketing for ACC. I worked with Katie for a while. We're doing a lot of programming with Pet Lifestyles Magazine. And as a matter of fact, ACC is opening a new facility very shortly. So we will tackle that on next week's episode. All right. Welcome to this week's TGI Furry. This is the part of the episode where I get to show you guys a couple of memes that I've collected throughout the week in the hopes of ending the episode with a laugh or a smile. And hopefully we've been able to do just that. All right, guys, I'm out of time. I hope you have a pawsome weekend, and we'll see you next Friday. Have a good one, guys. Enjoy the eclipse.